The Alternative is back, milestone episode number 10, right here, Hibiki TMD. One of the last episodes of 2019 for The Alternative. I know last episode, we said that was our last episode. Here's the deal. Here's what happened. Here's a little sneak peek behind the curtain. Colin didn't want to cut me off during the intro, the gentleman that he is, so we went an hour, when he could have told me at the beginning last week, hey, we can do one next week, but he didn't, bless his heart. So it's in the can. We talked a little bit this week. We decided we were going to do one this week. Colin is visiting family for the holidays, which is why he was going to be out originally. Forgot to bring his laptop, so here we are. We're in the trenches, and what do? You pull out your best men. Thankfully, two of my good buddies have helped fill in for Colin this week. Before we get to any of that, everyone go over unionsmack.bigcartel.com, your official Hibiki TMD merch. Get my co-host Matt's book from Union Smack. Undertaker Trip Down Death Valley. Look for his upcoming NXT UK Year 1 book coming very soon. All the goodness right down there, that red button hit. All the best retro gaming and pro wrestling. Speaking of gaming and wrestling, no two better guys I know that fit that moniker, that mold, than whatever that is, than right here from FOW. No, not just one this time. We got both of them. We got Logan and Hammers. What's going on, guys? First, Logan, thank you. I think this is the third time you've been a guest on The Alternative, man. You actually watched the entire thing this week. I'm so proud. Where can everyone catch you and all that stuff you do with Hammers?
It's actually the second episode that I've been on. Crazy, but it's only my second.
No, me, you, and Drew. You, me, and Mads, and Colin, and now this.
Oh, my bad.
There you go.
My bad, my third one. Okay. See, I'm starting to grow some dementia here, but you can check me out on Twitter at LoganMyers144 with the Towers Logan. It's my new name on there. And check out Future Wrestling right there on YouTube. On the YouTube channel, Future Entertainment. And please check out Hammers over here, because he's my good buddy. And he will tell you all the details on shirts as well, because for some reason my goddamn brain does not work.
Pro Wrestling Teespring.com. FOW.
Well, see, his brain doesn't work either.
Well, there he is, the other half of the tag team over here. What's going on, man? Thank you for being the Alternative the first time. No stranger to the channel or anything, though. Where can everyone catch all that social media stuff? And you and Kuzan and all that stuff.
So you can find me on Twitter at Hammers from Hell. You can find me on YouTube at the K&A Show. Since I am abruptly lazy and some things are happening with my Skype, I don't know what, but never mind that. You can find me there at K&A Show, where I do the occasional video podcast with your boy Kuzan, the ever-loving British lad. And we talk about 2006. Oh, you can also find us on teespring.com. K&H Show 69.
I was waiting on you could catch me on Facebook, but...
Or Instagram, but you can't because you got them faces.
There we go.
There it is. There it is. Thank you, guys.
Without that one.
If you haven't already, go there.
Save that for the end. Thanks for blowing.
Way to go, Logan. I'm going to do the whole thing over. Whole goddamn thing.
Now I got to do it at the end.
Get over there, Future Wrestling on YouTube. Give these guys a sub. You will like what you see. Trust me. Get over there also. Check out him and Kuzan. And follow both of them on Twitter. Guys, AEW is back. This show this week with Dynamite. Why we're here, we're going to talk about. Was very hyped. You had the Jungle Boy Chris Jericho thing being hyped up. You had the number one contendership with the ladies. You had the tag team title match. This was a lot of build going into this. Counterpoint, NXT says, hey, fuck you. Here's 2 title matches of our own. We saw the ratings come out today. 2 seconds on it. NXT, this is pretty much the biggest gap we've seen from either side. We've seen a lot of the defenders and all the excuses for the impeachment was on. Oh, there's All in the Family thing on NBC in this reunion special. Whatever. It is what it is. I said it with Colin last week, and I still stick to this philosophy that just like with WWE, especially with attendance and ratings, as long as they keep filling up these arenas for the pay-per-views and all that stuff, I think right now they can be happy enough with that. They don't need to stress every goddamn thing like this between the cracks, guys.
I agree with.
You don't have
totally
to.
On that one. I know I don't have to agree with you, but I do agree with you. And it is a pretty decent gap between the two this week in the viewership.
Yeah. It's very potent, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. What do you? I just think at the end of the day, there's bigger fish to fry for the cons and WWE. I mean, obviously they're firing back with the NXTs and stuff like that, and they're competing. They can't deny that they're putting these title matches on to directly compete and hurt AEW. That's whatever, it's business. But I don't think they're worried about it by any stretch of the imagination at all right now, because they're sitting prettier than ever financially.
Yeah, financially they are doing well. They're doing great, and both channels are doing really well. You know, still a long ways in this Wednesday Night Wars.
There's so many different angles to analyze AEW from right now that I don't want to say it's impossible. God, it's damn difficult. Like, just for such a young company and what they should and shouldn't be doing. It's real easy too for every single person with a podcast and person with the social media to sit on the outside and tell them what they should be doing. Just infrastructure right now, being such a young company, and there's no lineage. It's not like when the NWA transitioned into WCW Hammers in the early 90s. It's not like that. They're building their lineage from scratch. But at the same time, if you're doing that, and I get it, having the Bucks and Omega and Cody and them win all the time will be a bad look with them as VPs. But that's your goddamn star power at the same time. Is that such a double-edged sword right now? Because they're not doing a hell of a good job building up their biggest stars at all. I get it, they're trying to build up young guys, but eventually, for anyone that's never seen Omega or the Bucks, why should they care that these guys are the, quote, backbones of this company if they fucking lose all the time? It's hard to say what they should do booking-wise with those guys.
They are trying to pull in the Ring of Honor crowds, the crowds that used to love them, and they're still stuck in that mode of that crowd is going to be our big money makers. What they should be doing is pulling in more people, and I think they've been doing an okay job. I wouldn't say they've been doing the best job, but I think they could be doing better if that's the workaround. They could be doing better to bring in more people.
Logan?
Definitely could. I mean, you think about it, like you said, how far can they go with Kenny losing, with the Bucks losing, and all that? There's only so much you can really do until, it's just like repetitive, and I'm starting to see that with guys like Kenny and the Young Bucks, and that's why I mentioned them.
Now they're telling stories right now with Omega. Like the loss was for this tension with Adam Page and all that stuff in the Elite. He's not even a part of the Elite anymore because they wouldn't tell you, as we said numerous times in the show. Where are we at with the Young Bucks right now? Especially if Matt Jackson is able to speak in the next 2 months, then you'll truly know wrestling's fake, guys. After what we saw at the end of the show, before we get there. I get it that Moxley and Jericho are obviously the guys that get the two biggest reactions. They're obviously your two big top guys. And yes, they're, as they should be right now.
I would add a third.
Who's that?
Orange Cassidy.
Colin, even though he's not here, he would be so fucking proud of you because every week he wears the Orange Cassidy jacket and I have to plug it.
Even though I kind of understand what he's going for, I'm like, he's there, okay. People just love the hell out of Orange Cassidy, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I won't be saying anything but like fried chicken strapping onto anybody's back, but I mean,
Yeah, no, I'm with you. He does, but I see with his reaction, yes, it is very loud. But Logan popped out of the call for a second. Hopefully, he pops back in. We'll keep it going. Hopefully, he gets everything. Yeah, Big F. Anyway, I feel like he does get a big reaction. But it's kind of like, let's do it. Let's go to the Attitude Era, the God-blessed Attitude Era. There was a difference between the kind of, at times, huge reaction a sexual chocolate Mark Henry would get as opposed to a Steve Austin pop, you know?
Yeah.
Both very loud reactions, but different kinds of loud drag, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, one was more like, oh yeah, and then there's like, yeah!
There, one was more like, oh hell yeah, and the other one was, it's sexual, baby. That, yeah. Where are we at right now?
There was the ones that were laughing, and then there was the ones that were hyped.
See, if we can figure out what's going on with Logan here.
Logan, you better not have goddamn died on me, you son of a bitch.
Anything can happen when it's live.
Anything could happen in the WWE.
Anything? Bruh!
Unbelievable!
This week's episode of Dynamite kicked off with, hopefully Logan gets back in here. I have faith that he will, but let's kick it off. This week's episode kicked off with tag team action. Kenny Omega, Adam Page taking on the Lucha Brothers. Crowd pretty much behind all four guys in this, but I don't think any guy shown brighter crowd reaction-wise, again, than Pentagon Jr.
Oh, yeah.
He's just eating out of the palm of his hand, man.
Oh, yeah. Pentagon has learned some stuff from Hulk Hogan. Like, sure, maybe not everything, but he's learned some stuff. He's learned to play to the crowd a lot more than what he used to do. Like, he's learning, okay, this is kind of the time where I make my money and I, don't do too much. Even though he's still doing a lot, he's toning it down from, the indie stuff. He's getting more of a he's learning to work the crowd more than work with his opponent in a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, and I agree. But on the other end of that, a guy who's doing the complete opposite, doing it way too fucking much, and it's very noticeable, at least for me, is Kenny Omega. That's all he does now is pander to the goddamn crowd. Is it me, Hammers?
He needs to kind of calm it down just a tad bit. I mean, maybe somebody else has said this before as well as me right now, but he needs to just go back to that kind of cleaner mentality that first brought him into the view of manyest of wrestling fans. It's just becoming apparent that he's so not used to working the American style that he needs to figure out a way to tell this to him. I would just give him a bunch of like old King Road style matches and just say, here, listen, watch these. Watch what they do. Because inevitably, I could see him working more of a King's Road style than what he's doing now. He's working too much American. He needs to work where it best suits him. And the Japan style of King's Road was very much story-based telling, long matches that he used to do in New Japan. But they had more of a semblance of showing a story.
AKA, slow the fuck down, Kenny Omega. Another thing that I noticed with him ever since AEW, he rushes everything. It's a 100-yard goddamn dash.
Yes. Oh, yes. Like, I'm going to mention Jumbo...
Saruta.
Yeah, Jumbo Saruta versus Mitsuharu Misawa. Their little two matches that they did. They played it slow, but they still got those people hyped up when it started to move a little quicker and start bashing a little bit more. He needs to kind of tone down the silliness of just that American style that he's trying to learn from now and just kind of resemble it more into the King's Road style of old and just kind of learn to pick up that kind of steam and energy of that style and bring it into American style. Because if he can master kind of more of a King's Road style, of like competing, I think we could really see a revitalization of Kenny Omega in a more perfective way.
You think
Like,
Balor? Do you think Balor made that transition well, or do you think he's like? I don't think he's as in the same boat as Omega. I think he did make the transition better than Omega.
I think he did it. I think it was a rough kind of stepping stone with when he was starting to do NXT stuff, but he got it right when he got the NXT title, right when he was working with Owens and stuff like that. It snapped in his head, like he made the connections, he figured it out.
Yeah.
He just needs to reestablish his style. It's not working. It's definitely not working.
And look, I'm not Rick the Model Martel. I'm no Adonis, not even Adrian. And I know what I look like, and I know what Kenny Omega it looks like, right, in reality. But, and I'm going to give him criticism for it. Ever since AEW, man, I said it earlier today in a group chat where he looks like shit. It's like he stopped tanning. He doesn't look nearly as cut as he used to. And don't give me that he streams a lot more now. He probably streamed more when he lived in Japan because he had more time. I don't know what's going on. And I don't, dude, can we do it? Can we fucking do it? I don't want to be a vanity podcast and just be asinine, but can somebody on some podcast has finally got to have the balls to say this, Hammers. You ready? The hair. What the fuck happened, Kenny? What is going on, man? He looks like he's just a string unraveling. I want 2014 fucking Cleaner Omega in there. That doesn't even mean make him a heel. Just he had this air about him when he worked, and it's not there right now.
Yeah, he just needs to redefine and relook and remake that character and do it better because it's not working. It is not working at all.
For what it's worth, I don't know how much that is coming from me. This was good. This is a fine match. It's a good tag match. Credit to all four guys involved. Another guy who's pretty much the opposite of what Kenny Omega is, even though he hasn't been winning a lot. A guy I could not stand years ago when he was in that group in Ring of Honor with BJ Whitmer and Jimmy Jacobs. I could not stand Adam Page. You talk about a guy who's grown on me. He's totally doing what Omega should. He's given him, even just doing this quiet, somber, I'm in the middle of the road with this character. He's still got this presence about him, and I'm digging it, especially how young he is.
Oh yeah. Like, he is a few steps away from becoming AEW champion. Like, I don't know why they didn't pull the trigger on him at first. Maybe it was something else, but I think
too much too soon philosophy.
Maybe, yeah, but you could also make a point of saying, hey, this is how we're going to do it, and if you don't like it, then you can suck my nut. But you could, you got to be careful, I guess you could say, with Page. When is the time to pull the trigger on him? I don't know. But playing this somber kind of tone, I hope they start building him up. I really, really do. I really hope they start building him up again into a likely contender for the title. Because I want to see Adam Page win the title belt so badly. So badly.
Colin says it all the time on the show, and I think we kind of came to terms that I see it, that maybe he could be the one behind this Dark Order stuff all along, especially considering that's how they close out the show. And I know a couple of other podcasts have said this and stuff, but I feel like it's not a coincidence. I think with the SCU turmoil, I think Christopher Daniels should go back to the Fallen Angel character, and maybe he should be the whole leader behind the New Order. How amazing would that be?
Oh, that would turn some things on its head. Oh, yeah.
And it'd be a great fitting way for him to kind of sail off into the sunset, because this is it. This is the final run. He's fine, and credit to that guy, because he's made it, and he's going to make, when he finally made it, probably the last stretch.
I mean, he should have ended in Ring of Honor with the Ring of Honor title run he had. I mean, him still going this way. I mean, sure, he did botch that one move, but I mean,
Hey, it happens.
who like this man is still working at a good rate. He's still putting on pretty decent matches. I would say if you're gonna put a title on him, give him like a TV title, and have him be your first television champion of some sort. I don't know. I don't know if they're thinking about doing another title or if they're going to just keep with the 3 titles that they have already. But if I'm going to have a secondary champion, like on my show as like kind of like the next step up to the world title, I want Christopher Daniels being my television champion or my Intercontinental champion, because that dude personifies great work rate, and he could do a fabulous character run as the Fallen Angel one last time. Yeah. I truly believe if they do the Dark Order thing where he's the one actually in charge of the Dark Order, then by God, go for it and give him a secondary title. Or if you want to even be more ballsier, let him beat Chris Jericho like within a few minutes and have him be your world champion for, I don't know, until your next big pay-per-view.
Nobody would see it coming. Well, besides us, apparently.
Well, yeah, besides, me and everything.
People go back to that botch real quick. People gave him so much shit. And yeah, it was a bad botch. But see the difference between Christopher Daniels' botch right there and like, I don't know, just pretty much any younger talent from modern day times, like the class after him, you could say, right? When's the last Christopher Daniels botch like that you can remember? The difference is with the young guys, it's probably the match before this for them. They had a botch. They do it all the time. Christopher Daniels, I've rarely seen him do anything like that. He's usually flawless.
Yeah. I mean, I can barely count the number of times that he's botched on my hand. Like, this would be the first time that I could remember of him botching. Maybe there was another time. I don't know, but
either way, it was good. It was good, even though he wasn't even in this match. We're just talking about Daniels. That's what happens. Welcome to the alternative, Hammers. The match with the Lucha Brothers and Omega and Page was good. Obviously, the story was told. Lucha Brothers getting the win. How do you feel it played out? Just how as much as I don't want to say we're shitting on Omega at the beginning, but it's kind of a tough love kind of thing. I don't know what the fuck. I feel like both of these guys kind of did this role fine, though. They played the tension role fine for me,
Good match from both teams. I thought they may have gone more of the fact of maybe Omega and like Page start going for like the tag team titles, and then when they face off to like a former like another tag team that they would win, and then maybe they would go after the titles and then have like the Bucks win it, and then it's like a little bit of elite fighting, and then you turn Adam Page heel, blah blah blah. Like, I was thinking of like different scenarios, and then when I see that they are going to go with Page and Omega as a feud, I would think, okay, this is what we're going for. Okay, let's see how it goes. Let's see how this plays out.
I think both. Definitely Adam Page will benefit from the feud. Maybe it'll light a fire under Kenny Omega's ass, like we were saying earlier.
Oh yeah.
It is what it's good to see. The Lucha Brothers get another win. They've got to be number 1 contenders now, right?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, but with the Dark Order coming and kind of affecting how everything ended with the show lately, you could possibly put them into a number 1 contenders match as well. Like, have it be Lucha Brothers versus the Dark Order, and whoever wins gets number 1 contendership.
Yeah, definitely. You can do that. I'm pretty sure that took us next to Darby Allin and Cody taking on the Butcher, the Bunny, and the Blade. Not the Bunny, she's just there. I'm just trying.
I'm betting we're gonna be very opposite on this match. I'm gonna say that.
I didn't hate it, but I wasn't in love with it. The match was kind of just there for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. And the more I see this group, you know, Braxton Sutter, the guy from that metal band, and Allie, I want to like them. I want to invest in it more. But there's one piece missing. Is it a villain? Who knows what it is?
Yeah. I'm going to be truthful and honest. I've been a huge Every Time I Lay Dying fan, and when I saw Andy come into the company, I was like, hell yes. Like, this is my guy. This is my dude. Like, if there's one person I want playing guitar in my band, it's him.
Yeah.
Like, he's good. He good, dude.
With the gauntlet all the way up his arm, with spikes that are 3 inches long.
Actually, kind of more skaterish than you would think. Like, he's got the bill hat, the sleeveless shirt.
There you go.
It's a beautiful guitar. So
I hope at some point he was a pro skater at the size he is now, and there's footage of that with the monocle.
Yes, absolutely has to have a monocle.
People shit on the monocle. I liked it. You know why? It's wrestling. It's different. It gives them something. I like it. What the fuck's wrong with people?
To be truthful and honest, that character kind of reminds me a little bit of Daniel Day-Lewis's character from Gigs of New York.
Yes, I see that.
Immediately, that's the first thing. It's like, oh, this is kind of Daniel Day-Lewisy, and I'm like, yeah, I can get behind that. That's like, it's really cool.
Speaking of that, because I guess right now it's just kind of a time killer thing too, to hope that Logan will come back too at some point. How great, how much of a criminal, we were robbed of Daniel Day-Lewis deciding to be an actor instead of like a top guy in a territory back in the day as a wrestler. And that character, like him and Bockwinkel and AWA, just cutting promos. Holy shit.
Why? Like that, like.
Perfect wrestler.
Oh yeah. Like, you get him in there, boom, immediate, like, turnaround of a territory. Like, he can be the best bad guy in that territory for sure. There's
got to be somebody out there that does a spot on goddamn impression of him, and I don't even care if they like wrestling. I'll try to get him on the show.
Get actual Daniel Day-Lewis on the show.
But this match wasn't bad. Like I said, it's just Jim Ross. By the way, this is where it was probably most noticeable. Besides, like the main event, his commentary, just it comes off more and more each week. Like Jim Ross is just collecting a check, because I feel like the Jim Ross of old, as much as sometimes he hated being there in fucking '95 and the doldrums and shit, he at least still did his homework. And you'd learn a lot about the guys in their work. He went here to this school and played football. Now it's Jungle Jack, Jungle Jim. There's 15 fucking names for Jungle Boy in this match. My quote of the decade. I put out the tweet earlier. Well, I guess his name's Blade. Oh, there it is. It's written right on his ass. You know, because it's hard to remember a guy's name is Blade, I guess. Christ.
I love that joke. When he said that, it's like, oh, Jim, you dog, you.
And it's not like these two are like, I can see how it'd be easier to mix up the Young Bucks for sure, but these guys are obviously two standouts in this company. For one, the other dude's size, you know, the Butcher.
Oh yeah.
And the Blade, Braxton Sutter, whatever you want to call him, he's got a good look. He's got that grizzled, I'm a shitty bad guy in an action movie look. Like I said last week, I like it. It's just a lot of people speculate it could be Marty Scurll. I really do think if he does come in, it just makes fucking perfect sense. You know, they all start with the in their name.
Yeah, it would be like an updated version of Villain Enterprises. That would be perfect. But
all the group needs is a strong leader with credentials, established leader to kind of put them over the top for me. Then they start getting the wins that matter. Right now, and it sucks that this is their third week on TV. They're already cannon fodder for Jeff Jarrett. I mean Cody. Sorry, it's an honest mistake. Come on, Hammers.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you, I might have only told Logan this, but I had a crazy idea for, like, them. Like, when they attacked Cody, it's like, okay, I know what this is going to go to. Like, Bunny is going to be all, like, next week, cut promo on Brandy Rhodes and have it be like, bitch, you attacked me with, Awesome Kong. So now I took out someone that you sleep next to at night and completely destroyed him. So what are you going to do about it now?
Yeah. And nothing.
Have the Butcher and Blade be more of like bodyguards who kind of protect the Bunny from,
from the Nightmare Collective and all that weird shit.
Yeah, and then when I hear like MJF paid for them to come in and
it's such a cop out. I hated that.
I was like, fuck no, you could have had a perfect like moment of brilliance where you had Brandy and Cody kind of like going up against like the evil bad guys of the two, and just have like a 6 mixed person tag match for like a pay-per-view down the road, and have it be like the big blow off for the whole entire feud. I was like, damn it, man, you're so close.
Maybe MJF is hood rich after all, as Cody said in that promo, because his hired guns already got their ass kicked. Mm-hmm. I don't have anything else to say, honestly, about it. That's what happened. There was there had, Darby Allin out there looking pretty solid. They're booking wise.
Yeah, I think it proves a tad bit of a point that that QT Marshall, even though he was pretty decent last week, he does not compare up to the likes of Darby Allin. And besides, even Darby Allin on Twitter made this a point of saying, hey, I know these guys well enough. Cody is going to go to war with a former soldier of them. We got this. We got this under control. So it's just Darby Allin making a prediction and it being true. Yeah. And with that also being said, now we're going to have Cody versus Darby 2 happening sometime down the road, hopefully at a pay-per-view, because I want to see those boys go at it one more time on pay-per-view.
When specifically is Bash at the Beach? Is it the 1st?
It is. No, it's on the 15th. I think it's when they're in Miami, and it's not a pay-per-view. It's just what they're calling that show for that night.
Oh, okay. That's why you're on this week, Hammers, for that little fun fact.
So I think it's like at the University of Miami or something like that. I don't know.
Miami.
Yeah, Miami, because I have chapped lips.
QT Marshall, I think that was the role he was supposed to play last week. I mean, they've only really showed a lot in vignettes in his background if you watch Dark, but if you did, you knew kind of why he was there in that role for Cody. And like we said last week, Colin and I, it was obvious QT would take the pin, and he did, and it made sense. And this one doesn't make as much sense to me. I don't know what they're trying to do with the Butcher and the Bunny and the Blade right now. Are they going to beat him down till they build him up till Skrull comes in? You know what I mean? We'll see. We got good. I was
just gonna say I like this match. I thought this was definitely the match of the night. Even though I am a huge Cody fan, after like everything he's been through with WWE and him coming and making this with the Bucks, whatever Cody's been doing on AEW has been either pretty good to like perfect with everything that's happened. And I think with this match being really good with Darby as well, I would give it like somewhere in between, like, yeah, this was the right call. This was what you needed to do.
When I was watching this match, I kind of, with Cody Rhodes specifically, I took it for the first time as what a casual would think, for the first time they'd ever seen him, and all they know is WWE.
Yeah.
And just the name when the graphic came up, the American Nightmare Cody. What? His name's Cody. And just the look. Does Cody look cool to someone that's never seen? Like, if you just see Cody and what he's wearing, the weightlifting belt and all this shit, I don't know what... it's... Like you said at the beginning of the show, it's not Ring of Honor anymore. You can't just try to appeal to that demographic. Is it stuff like people tried to peek in and they've seen... Because Cody's been in some prominent goddamn spots on all these shows for the most part, right? Prime time shit. Maybe that's what they saw and they're like, who is this dork? And it's fucking... I don't know.
Yeah, that's obviously possible as well, yeah. It's...
I don't think that. I'm just saying. I don't think he, because I understand what a professional wrestler is supposed to look like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nobody really. I guess nobody. Well, I'm betting there's people who have the idea of what a professional wrestler. When you say professional wrestler and you tell someone, draw me a professional wrestler.
Usually they'll have like a mullet and undies and.
Yeah. They'll look like Hulk Hogan, pretty much, when you first think of a pro wrestler. And then when you show people like guys that wouldn't normally like fit in, like Stan Hansen or like Dr. Death Steve Williams, Dan Severn, and guys like that, guys that you would normally put in as like a drawing of a wrestler, it would, I'm betting it would shock them, blow their minds. So with Cody looking the way he does, he definitely needs to be like known as like Tony Reynolds or something that could kind of, link him up to his dad a little bit. But it shouldn't be like the thing that draws them into him.
Right.
Is being, that's Cody. So that's Dusty's son. They should think it was like, oh, Cody, he's that wrestler guy who's really good.
How many people looked in the early 90s and went, oh, that guy, that's in the pink, that's Stu Hart's son.
Yeah, like nobody did. But people know who Dusty is and who Dusty was. And he needs something that can kind of correlate to him being a little bit of the son of Dusty, but doesn't need to, lambast in that moment.
Devil's advocate too. He probably does have a harder time because, in all due respect to Stu Hart, he wasn't a national goddamn star, worldwide star like Dusty Rhodes ever was. So it's probably a lot harder for Cody than Brett was to be out of that shadow. Because Stu was only huge in Calgary. Outside of that, nobody knew who the fuck Stu Hart was.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. This hurts my goddamn soul. Hammers. Awesome Kong and random geisha lady jobber. It squash matched Awesome Kong with Brandy. Goddamn Rhodes. Here we go. Logan isn't back yet. I gotta do it. I gotta move the train along, man. I know how fired up Logan was about this. I'm not fired up. I'm just nauseated how bad and just... It's not like... She's not on levels of like a... God, Frankie Williams and Piper's Pit level of bad promo. Or Norman Smiley level of bad promo. She's just dull as dishwater for me. It's not the right style of promo for what the character should be for me. That's the problem with Brandy fucking Rhodes. It's this weird... accented Southern Belle / I don't even know what the fuck her accent is, but it's so monotone and it drags fucking on and it feels like I'm listening to this for 20 minutes.
Like a gothic Southern accent she's got going on.
It's not like I guess. It'd be one thing if there was no other spooky, dark, evil fucking stable in AEW, but there's like 50 of them. This isn't needed. Especially this is what you kickstart your women's division with. Because let's be real, this is the goddamn foundation they're setting it on. The winner of the #1 contenders match is dead set in the middle. This is centered around her. And I get it, your champion never shows up, but this is how you're going to change the fucking world, Cody? What the fuck? This is, they should never bring out any other props where they got sledgehammers or mock ever any fucking thing WWE again, because they went above and beyond. They did something even below probably what WWE would put out there sometimes. This is
2001 WCW.
I put the tweet out. I put multiple. I was raging when I watched this. You saw it, Hammer, and I got to say, this is the worst thing about AEW right now, besides their picture-in-picture and their production quality shit sometimes. This, Brandy Rhodes, is the one thing in AEW I would say, stay away. At all fucking costs, do not watch. Hammers?
I'm going to say this, and I hope I don't get heat with people about this. Brandy Rhodes is terrible, but what do you expect from someone who really hasn't, wrestled for a long time? I mean, we're expecting, monoliths and godlike things, but she's only really wrestled since 2016, 2017.
Yeah.
We can be harsh on her a little bit because Cody's wife and everything, but I give this.
For me, it's me being harsher on whoever's booking this because, yes, you're totally right, but then why is she out there in such a prominent role if she's this fucking green? And they've had to screen these people before they cut a promo. You know what I mean? That's what doesn't make sense. It's not her fault. She's just kind of trying to do her best. It's not like, but it just, somebody back there is giving this a green light without really looking at it. I guess maybe just because it's Cody's wife. Like, oh, well, if we say no, Cody will fucking shit can us. Who knows?
Well, I would rather just, this needs kind of, this needs to have something. It's not there. It's an idea that's still kind of
he's real
in
back.
limbo, I would say.
Yeah.
It's something that they're putting out there and they're testing the waters with. It's what they did with the Dark Order. They put it out there, they played it with it a little bit more, and then we got the big explosion, which we'll talk about later, I'm guessing. And it just needs a little bit more. And I think with Brandy kind of being the head mistress of this women's gang, I mean, there's not another women's gang in AEW. This is just kind of them testing out the waters with doing something like the Joshis would do with their groups and whatever. Even though I don't usually watch Joshi wrestling, it's them trying to attempt something like that in an American style, and it's still kind of in that little dusty phase. Now her promo. Let me just start off by saying this. Her opening up with the line about Tony Schiavone switching the mics on her just before she came out, I thought was a good kind of trying to okay, let me save this moment for right now and just tell Tony Schiavone to get the fuck out. And it was a good peak to start off with. You're making it known that you're the bad guy here.
Sometimes it's good to start off strong with cheap heat, but then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah. From there on, it was just oh, you could, no, oh no, and then it just kind of fell flat a little bit. But the only thing we really got from that is okay. Brandy likes wearing heels. She hits Chris with a heel to the eye, as the announcers would say.
Well, let's go ahead and just put this all into one thing. This is after Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander, not Kat Statlander, Chris Statlander. And I thought it was for what it was fine. The match. It's good. I love the finish. That reversal into the Big Bang Theory was great. Tremendous job. And Britt Baker sold that tremendous. I thought she was legit fucking hurt.
Oh yeah. I think if you give Britt Baker some chance. She will definitely redefine this women's division.
Tons of potential. She just needs more time.
Yeah, she needs to get out there more and be more assertive. Maybe like getting her that little switch that we all like talked about. Like if there's that one thing that could just push her over the edge and get her to that kind of main event level status of like a Tessa Blanchard or like a Becky Lynch. There needs to be something that just kind of pushes her out there as being like head bitch in the yard.
She should be in the role in a way Brandy Rhodes is in. She should be the one out there healing on people. And I've said it a million times on here with Colin, and I'm glad somebody finally sees it that way. That you start that way with her. That because people they kind of invest, especially I mean in Pittsburgh, she got the biggest pop of her career so far. But even in Pittsburgh, it was still. That's your hometown, and that's all they had for you. You know, even though you went for the cheap Pittsburgh Steelers coat and all that shit, she got a good reaction, but nothing like some hometown pops I've seen. You heal her, you make her whole character be this what Randy Orton should be doing in NXT. Bring him down to NXT, have him do this anti-indie guys gimmick. She resents these women from Japan coming in when it should be all about her. You know, she's got the look. I got to feel like she's got it in her. She has to. And if you go that route and you start to heal her that way to the top, be much easier to turn a babyface because everyone wants to cheer a fucking heel in 2019.
Oh, yeah. Like, I would love to see that happen.
But, yeah, and then that took us to where you were at, Hammers, with Brandy and Chris Statlander. And it really is WCW, man. It really is the new WCW.
Oh, yeah. What is, like, who's the bald bitch? Like, I know she was like.
Who's Flair in this? Holden. Huh? Ric Flair and Elizabeth hit Randy Savage with the high heel, right? Now, who's Flair in this scenario? Is that Awesome Kong?
I don't know, but lady with the like, who's bald? Like, who's she? Like, she just comes out of the crowd and just says, "Hey, I'll shave my head." Like, excuse me, miss. Who the fuck are you? Like, that's like finger up in the air, like, hold on a second. Who's this? Like, we need to talk. Like, now. And even Cody said it on Twitter, like, who's this? Did we sign this person again? Like,
oh. And the high heel shot. And by the way, this one shot from the terrible looking high heel, which was the base of her hand covering it up because Brandy Rhodes doesn't know what the fuck she's doing.
Tries to spin that heel around and it can't spin it.
No, yes, I was just gonna say that to follow it up with the worst twirly dirly I've ever seen in my fucking life, Hammers. What the fuck?
It just decided to say, you know what? I'm just gonna go about 180.
It stops.
It just lets you figure out how to twirl me correctly.
It's like playing Sonic the Hedgehog 4 and there's no momentum. You just stop to a dead halt.
The heel no-sold it. Like, no, you are not turning me around 360 degrees over and over again. You are going to only get 180.
And after the badoink and the twirly dirly, right before that was you had a standoff with Chris Statlander and Awesome Kong, right? And Jesus Christ, she's not the Awesome Kong of old. She has no knees left, basically. She can't do what she does in ring. It's all spectacle at this point. Don't get it twisted. I've seen her work in recent times. But they still, to this day, one of the best people they build up on commentary in AEW is Awesome Kong. They do a hell of a job. Jim Ross, especially on this, said she's legit the toughest woman of all time and blah, 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 which, it's questionable. But this little stare down here, I liked it. It made Chris Statlander seem like a goddamn beast, right? But then one high heel shot. You're done, son. You're done.
Well, it was to the eye, as they made it.
Well, it looked like the forehead. That might help if they say where it actually hit. It'd be a little better to take for me. But yes, they said it was the eye, but it just looks so shitty. So shitty.
Yeah.
Ugh. They need to do a shaky cam for that shit like WWE does. Just shake it all around and fucking there's an earthquake happening when she hit her. Jesus Christ. Can we move off of this Brandy shit finally? Yeah, I need to calm down. The best part of this entire show for me was, and probably you, was Jungle Jack Jim, whatever the fuck Jim Ross is calling him, Jungle Boy, going against Chris Jericho. By the way, we didn't mention I like the I'm jogging vignette basically for Jungle Boy. The nice overhead helicopter cam shots of him. They're jogging in the woods.
Oh yeah, the little struts down the road with him running with the little mask, him lifting up weights with the mask.
Yeah, what's with the mask? Does he have like breathing issues or?
It's to help regulate airflow.
Okay.
That's a lot of. You don't see it a lot. Well, you see it a lot, but it's to help kind of breathe properly and like give them the ability to like not breathe as heavy as normal. There was a few places like Cesaro's worn it, and a few leg shoots for WWE.
Yeah.
The Briscoes like made a joke about it.
Well, that's just them every day when they have to get done robbing a house.
Yeah, but it was more. It's something that kind of helps breathe, and athletes use it as well. It's I wouldn't say it's crucial to have, but it's something that helps a lot.
There you go. Very noted. For all future potential weightlifters and athletes out there, there you go. There's your pro tip of the day from Dr. Hammers.
Chris Jericho then does a promo, video promo next week, doing shot for shot the same thing.
And then the next week on NXT, they counter with Matt Riddle doing a promo wearing a gas mask, taking bong rips. Bro. No, what did you think of the sit down with Jim Ross, too, before this?
It was interesting. I was not surprised that they did this, but it was interesting to hear how
John. Sorry, I'll stop. Yeah. I promise.
But it was interesting to listen to them and continue like this interview that they had. It was really good, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what kind of happens in the future with interviews like this, because these interview styles that they do with just commentator on one side and like athlete or athletes on the other, and then just kind of talking in this way is kind of a lost form in a way, with it being with like a post-production aspect. And I would really like to see that style come back, where it's more super cutted than an actual interview that is more live. Like this kind of interview style is a lost art, and I think Jim Ross can bring this back as a good way to like help kind of stars get pushed a little bit more.
Some of the most synonymous and greatest of all time, these kind of style. The Mankind one comes to mind where he attacks Jim Ross.
Oh yeah.
WWE does this style too, except WWE does it more awkwardly. When how AEW does it, I prefer like you, where they're just kind of the way their seats are, they're just kind of sitting beside each other chilling, right? Like they'd be at a theater in a way, but a little bit angled. Where in a WWE one like this, the sit downs, they're facing directly at each other, staring at each other, asking the question. So it's like
it's pulling stuff from TV, like the sit down interview with like R. Kelly, and R. Kelly gets pissed off and mad and throws stuff. Like that's what they're taking it from.
It's not a good look for wrestling.
It doesn't feel like it feels like just another like interview that everyone does. There needs to be something that kind of like that makes it different, that makes it feel makes it feel different.
Pro wrestling kind of, and as cliched it is, how it used to be, which is why it's crazy as to think this a year, 2 years ago, even crazier to think that NWA would somehow have some of the most buzz out of anything in pro wrestling right now in the entire world. That's totally why they're standing out, because they're going back to those simple, low budget fucking things like that always worked. Because something triggers in your mind when you see shots like this and sit downs. You get that little nostalgic feel. This is wrestling. It's no different than when you hear Lex Luger's WCW theme song randomly, and you get that old nostalgic feel. The down and now, down and now. Yep. You know what I'm saying? You get it. That's the thing. I love the match. Another gimmick to this match, a very old school gimmick. Just last 10 minutes with the champ. The finish was old school too. We've seen this.
Yeah.
We've seen this done 1,000 times. But you know what, Hammers? It works every goddamn time. This crowd was on their goddamn feet by the end of this.
They were all pulling for Jungle Boy at the end of this.
And as I said earlier, it's nice to see a crowd cheer a babyface again. And this is how it's supposed to go down for once. God forbid.
It's just like, oh, I'm so happy to see someone like Jungle Boy get up and get that kind of, babyface pop that we haven't heard in goddamn forever. I really, really want to see, that kind of comeback a little bit. Like, the good old-fashioned babyface pop that gets everybody jacked. And it's like, oh, he was so close to getting him. Like, he was right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, fuck. Like, if he had another 5 minutes, I'm betting he would have won.
They kind of went with the WrestleMania 12 finish with Brett and Shawn, where he was the first finish, and after they came down and restarted the match, where he was in the sharpshooter and he didn't tap out, so he lasted technically. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it was Jim Cornette who made the comment of going this route of he won't last 10 minutes with me. Like it's like Jim Cornette whispered into Chris's ear like, hey, go for this. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Chris and Jim are talking every once in a while.
Little text buddies, because of the history with Smoky Mountain and all that shit. And out of anyone, there's only maybe 3 or 4 guys Cornette ever praises when he did it. He doesn't review AEW as much now, but Jericho was always one of those guys. A little bit of bias might help. Yeah. Nah, I get it. Thrill seekers!
But it just helps that you get a little bit of that old school every once in a while. And I mean, you don't need people jumping out of boxes, but you get kind of a little bit of old school nostalgia out of it and get it good.
Get good.
Yeah.
And then after he lasted in the crowd, of course Jericho did the freaking out gimmick and stuff at Aubrey Edwards, or I think it was Aubrey who was the ref for this. All of a sudden, I think Jungle Boy rolls him up, and it was either Marco Stunt or the ref counts 3. So technically, because Jericho demanded the match go 5 more minutes or something.
Well, no, it was Jungle Boy got immediately his babyface fire, and then
that Ricky Morton
Jericho,
fire.
Well, yeah, and Jericho immediately bookend out of there, got his title, and walked out. And Jungle Boy kind of stood there in the ring well, fuck. And he would then leave, and then everybody clapped and praised him as he walked out.
Mm-hmm.
Who else was it?
Luchasaurus?
Well, no, not Luchasaurus, but yeah, then Jericho comes down and does the,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think if there was anything else. Anything else that happened?
Oh, he essentially got that roll up and celebrated in his way, not technically beating the champ, but beating the champ. And it just goes to say what Colin and I have been saying again for weeks, with people freaking out about these rankings and how Jungle Boy hasn't had a single win. It didn't matter for this storyline. The whole point was for the heel to be a goddamn pussy, and that's why he requested the guy with no wins. He thought it'd be a walk in the park, a cakewalk, if you will.
Well, no singles wins.
No singles wins, excuse me. Yes, but in no way deserving any kind of title match. Basically, kind of wins record. Yeah. But this went down exactly like I thought it would, and I knew this was going to go down without a hitch if they booked it like this. And lo and behold, Hammers, guess what? It did.
Yeah, it was spot on.
Good.
So
this was probably the one must-see thing of this week's, I would say.
Yeah.
Maybe the main event.
I put it right next to the Cody match as well.
Only the main event in the way of to make fun of what happened after the main event.
Yeah.
You just want to do it? You want to rip the Band-Aid off? Wrap this
Yeah,
up?
let's rip
The
it.
main
Let's
event?
rip it. Yeah.
AEW World Tag Team Championships. Defending champs SCU Kazarian, my Marion, and Maid Marion, and Too Cold Scorpio Sky taking on the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson here. The match, exactly like you would think it would go down if you haven't seen it. A typical Young Bucks SCU match. The Young Bucks, like first couple weeks, the Dynamite hammers. I don't know if you heard earlier episodes, but I used to be praising them on Dynamite because I've learned that less is more when I watch the Young Bucks matches. The less I see of them in shorter matches, I like them a lot more. But anything over 20 minutes with the Young Bucks match, and it's just oversensitized, and I just can't deal, I guess. And I don't even bother getting worked up. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to finish watching the match. I'm just going to pretty much guess how it goes, and I'll just look at the finish. But this, I actually watched this match because I like SCU a lot. The only real complaint I had match in-ring wise, I'm so sick of this shit. WWE does it. New Japan does it. Every wrestler in the world does it. I'm not singling out organizations before people come at me on comments and Twitters. Stop just standing there and waiting on guys to jump. At least can you look like you're breathing, blinking? You turn into statues. And I get it. You're catching a human being. But at the same time, perception's reality. Jesus Christ. It's like goes back to the spot with Ortiz weeks ago with the kick your fucking legs. And we didn't even talk about we talked about the opener, but not the spot in it where he just held him, the Lucha Brothers, and then he jumped on his head. But there was no movement from Adam Page. He was just waiting to take that move. I don't know if you know what move I'm talking about. It's just like he froze.
Yeah.
These guys just keep doing this shit, and it's so much more noticeable in AEW because their production quality and their team isn't on par, obviously, with the best company in the world yet. And it just shows more, and it exposes them more. And I don't know. The match was fine if you're a huge Young Bucks fan, I guess. Hammers?
I'm not. So, the match was okay for a Young Bucks match, and I would rather see something else than this. If I could, I would have just had skipped a lot of this match and just gone to the finish immediately. Like this is just like I'm good. I'm good. You don't need to do any more. Just go to finish after a few kicks and be done with it.
Is it safe to say a lot of teams that work with the Young Bucks, the Young Bucks are that team that exposes a lot of teams as maybe not being as good as you think they were? It's because the Young Bucks suffer that Kenny Omega shit again, where now they're not but they used to do it, and it's the opposite. They've slowed it down in AEW, but in Japan, they just rush the shit out of everything, went a million miles an hour. And some guys, quite frankly, can't keep up with the Young Bucks, and it shows.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I don't know what it is, dude. It should be clicking a lot more. I feel like kids should think the Young Bucks are fucking awesome right now. I feel like there should be so much more buzz where we're at with AEW rounding out 2019 than we are, Hammers.
Yeah,
this early.
I don't know what else to say. It's just like there's something missing, and
is it roster size? Quite frankly, they just need more guys.
They need more tag teams. That's what they need. They need more tag teams. They don't need more people, because when you get more people, then you got to start making note of like singles guys and tag guys. You just need to form like more tag teams. Like have more single guys who can wrestle tag team wrestling. Like have they played it off during the show of having what is it? I forget. Former Ty Dillinger.
Sean Spears. Oh, we have. How we've not even brought that up once.
Yeah, like Sean Spears. If you can find someone who's good at tag teaming, boom, you got another tag team. Like have him team up with like like someone else who's a good heel in that role. Or here's a crazy idea: have the unconventional tag team of Shawn Spears and goddamn Joey Janela.
Thought you were gonna say Tully Blanchard for a second.
Tully Blanchard. Oh yes, I really want to see another Tully Blanchard match.
There's rumors of Flair being cleared, and he wants to come back. Did you see that?
No. Listen. Ric Flair died when he went to TNA. So I have him team up with Janela and have them be like the awkward tag team and let them go for the titles. Like you got like perfect team possibilities here. Like have like Adam Page, Kenny Omega, they could tag up as well. Like fuck.
Jimmy Jacobs and Jimmy Avalon, whatever, Peter Avalon.
Oh, that would be a beautiful tag team.
Could you imagine?
He rips out some papers out of a book, tells him to staple it to the guy's head. Oh.
No, like he has Leva Bates whip out the book, and then she starts reading like a line, and then Havoc rips it out of her hand, throws her on the ground, and whips out and just pisses on it because he's drunk. That's what happens there.
I could just see it being like the librarians, an officer, an office manager, Jimmy Havoc.
What would you call that team? The Bible Beaters?
No, just call it like Office Supply or something like that.
Office Max. Office Max Payne.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. Jimmy.
I smell a new signee to your guys' future wrestling all of a sudden for some reason. Then all of a sudden, after by the way, SCU retains. Young Bucks don't win, which that didn't surprise me. Honestly, I predicted SCU would win Hammers.
Oh yeah.
They're just too early into the reign, I feel like. And the Young Bucks, and I give them credit. Yes, they're reeling back, but it goes what we say. Eventually, they're going to have to show people why they should care and are stars in the first place that don't know about their run in New Japan and Ring of Honor. They got to get some wins in eventually and some title wins. It's going to have to happen. They're going to have to accept their nepotism role. They're just going to have to do it.
Yeah.
You know? If you want that role, you got to take what comes with it. But all of a sudden, Boga Boga. Boga Boga Hammers. The lights go down. And when they come on, they close the show with, there was actually a reason, I guess, to see all these filler vignettes that were getting slowly better over the past couple. The Dark Order, the Minions, and John Silverman and the other job guy out there. Just
the other job guy.
Alexander Silk. I'm just making up a name because I don't know his name. What's his name? Captain Silver and who?
Let me look it up. John Silver.
And
not long John Silver.
Can we just call him Furnace and LaFawn?
I would love to.
Furnace and LaFawn and the Dark Order out there taking out all these guys, taking out the Young Bucks, and just what? This is how they're closing the show, and I guess they're giving them, they're testing the waters with this. Maybe they're going to see if this hits and see how serious they can build this group. Is this a grand scheme all along, booking wise? Well, who is behind this, Hammers? And we see literally one of the, I don't even know where. I mean, people talk about Tank Abbott pulling out a knife in WCW and Pillman in the gun. He ripped out a man's esophagus or whatever the fuck just happened. Evil Uno.
He was getting some of the blood from the mouth of I think it was Matt.
Merry Christmas, AEW. Jesus Christ.
Also the other guy's name is Alex Reynolds.
Throat ripping. Merry Christmas, AEW. Maybe that's what I should call this episode. Who knows? That was something, and I don't think anyone saw this coming. And this fell flat for probably 90% of what I saw on social media. I don't know if I hate it yet. I got to see where it goes. It's too early for me to criticize it, but it's nice to see something different at the top of the cards a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know. The Dark Order Like, I know them originally as the Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
From
Player 1 and Player 2.
Well, yeah, from Chikara, and then from PWG, as they were the tag team that defeated the Young Bucks for the titles.
Right.
And I think it was a ladder.
Very tight
match.
with Excalibur and all those PWG guys.
Yeah, and so it just, I really want to see this do well, and with what they're doing to playing up to this dark medieval cult that they have, it's interesting, and I'm wondering how they kind of display this more and where they go from here. But it's going to be interesting to see how it happens and what they do.
This is what I would do. You'd keep building this up for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then you'd reveal this higher power, and then you build it up a couple more weeks.
Listen.
And then you take the dog you take the pockets, or whatever the dog of Cody and Brandy's, and you kidnap the dog in storyline. The higher power, they're going to sacrifice the dog in the ring, and all of a sudden, the higher power takes the hood off. I don't know who it would be. Would they just say, "It's me, Austin"? I don't know, but I just wanted to do a higher power joke. Because this reminds me of the Ministry of Darkness, like a Kmart Ministry of Darkness right now. And I don't want it, I want to like it. It's just, the minions, I guess, the look of them, they're so hard to take serious.
Oh, yeah.
It's not their fault. That's production's fault. And the seamstress's fault backstage. Yeah. I don't know. It was kind of a yucky way, to be honest, to go out of Dynamite, considering how they were kind of building this to be a bigger show going out of 2019. This is how they did it. This is how they ended the year. Hammers. What do you grade this episode of Dynamite on a lettering level?
Give it a C minus. I mean, there was definitely better ones in the past, but I would put it up to a C minus. It was good still. There was still some good moments to get out of it, in some potential matchups that you could see from this, but it just it falls a little bit flat in certain areas, and it could have been done better.
I'm gonna give it a B, and this is why. And I'll try to sum it up with an analogy. AEW to me, even from the beginning, it was really strong. Now it just seems like the ship is still sailing pretty smooth, but there's some holes in the ship. There might be some leaks, and the sails might have some rips in them. We might be having some problems. Yeah, that's kind of what AEW is. If it was a ship, the show flowed fine for me. That's why I still got to give it a B. And I think the Jungle Boy and Chris Jericho match pretty much is what keeps it at a B. If that wasn't on this, I'd probably have to go down to C with you. But I still feel like we've had there's been some ones I've had to struggle through, honestly, with Dynamite, but they all pretty much, they flow pretty well because they're not 5 goddamn hours like Raw is. But yeah, it's nothing I'd say go out of your way to see, but you could do much worse probably than catching this episode of Dynamite. Still, not an F yet.
I would say if there's 2 matches worth watching, it would be Cody and Darby versus the Butcher and the Blade, and the Chris Jericho versus Jungle Boy match. I think if you want to see good wrestling for the night, go watch those 2 matches. Get out of your way to watch those 2 matches, because I think that they're the ones that you want to really see.
The opener just kind of felt more like get your shit in, get it in fast. There's other stuff going on tonight.
Get in, get out. We got to make this, as quick as we can. Also, we forgot about mentioning this. Did Pac just murder?
I thought about that. We were like 3 segments ahead, and I was like, damn it, we forgot to bring up Pac. But I didn't know how to get back to it. But yeah, let's do it, because it's still my favorite guy in AEW.
Yeah, what the hell happened with Michael Nakazawa?
Do we want to know? Because it's Michael Nakazawa. Do we want to know?
Listen. I may not be the hugest Michael Nakazawa fan in the world, but still, Micah Nakazawa is he's like the Toru Yanoue of AEW, and it's just funny, stupid that I would like to see.
Kenny Omega rushed out of there like it was his fucking mother getting attacked. By the way, like he just bolted out of there, and the thing was, you couldn't even tell who it was. Like, how did he know it was Michael Nakazawa?
Because it's that stupid little black towel thing that you got from Hulk Hogan. And
I just thought it was a hoodie. I guess I wasn't really paying attention.
Yeah, it was just so stupid. But at the same time, I want to make sure Michael Nakazawa is okay.
Somebody check on him.
I don't want to get rid of my AEW Toru Yanoue now, please.
Well, we end the show. What better way to end the year on the alternative than Yano? Because next week's episode is probably going to be, I'm going to do my best in a week to round up best of the alternatives so far, 10 episodes. And I think we got some bangers to dish out a little, at least 30-minute goodness. Hammers, man, I want to thank you, dude, for tagging it. And Logan, God damn it, we had, I don't know what happened. I don't know if his shit died. He hasn't been back on.
His internet died.
Fuck. Well, we'll try to get Logan back on definitely after the new year when the alternative. But man, thank you for helping me round out the alternative number 10, the last episode of the year. One more time, happy holidays, my friend. Where can everyone catch you and all that you do?
Well, I wanted to make one last little clip.
Go for it.
Have you seen the new website by the Dark Order by chance?
I've heard of it, but I haven't visited it.
Oh, this is a little juicy ball of joy. So they have a join us little section.
Yeah.
So me being the big ballsy brainsy man that I am, I decided to enter in a fake name, my actual email address, and tell us your story bit in the comments portion. I labeled myself as Lance Hogan. Email address was my actual real email address. Phone number was 472 687 6969. Birth date.
You just dox some random person out there. They're just going to start getting calls from whoever.
I then put my birth date as I am a 4-year-old. I put the actual date of today, and then I just went back until 2015. Bing. I put my Twitter handle as at the Great Hulkamaniac.
Oh my god. So what happens when you hit submit? Does like a generator pop up and you have a character or what?
No. It just says thank you for submitting. And that's it.
And all these dudes are gonna show up at your house, just start beating on your door. Lance Hogan, come out! Lance Hogan.
Just me in my underwear.
I gotta stop yelling. It's late.
Look at you.
Why were you yelling Lance Hogan last night? Who is that? Oh my god! I gotta visit it. You know what? I should just screen capture it and just put it up on the channel for a little bonus.
But my favorite part is when I put in the tell us your story. I pretty much just did a Hulk Hogan promo. Just say, you know what, brother?
Oh my god!
I don't remember what I exactly typed in, but I just immediately ripped a Hulk Hogan promo and just added in like AEW wrestlers' names.
At the end, did you put "Rip 'em, brother"?
I've never read.
Rip 'em, dude. Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for that story, Hammers. Mary, that was the Christmas gift for the show. We appreciate it, man. Thank you. You shouldn't have.
Oh, it's just me just giving the people a lovely taste of a beautiful taste of something really, really weird.
You did it for the people.
Yep.
Where can everyone catch you one more time?
can find me on Twitter at Hammers from Hell. You can find me on YouTube at K&H Show, where I do the podcast gimmick with Kuzon as funny, doofy stuff. You could also find my t-shirt shop at teespring.com/K&H Show 69. For no reason
It doesn't sound that hard to remember, Logan, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And you can try to find me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, but you can't because you get them
Fat asses! I did it with him that time. I've been wanting to do that for like 2 years or however long we've done shows together. Thank you again, man. We'll see you in the new year. Hopefully we get you back on here as a guest and Colin's back. That'd be like old times for you guys. There you go.
Or maybe not.
We'll see what's in the works.
Logan still owes me a matchup with him. I still need one more match at Trivia Mania against Beardy over there. Like, him and I, one-on-one.
You're digging out the deep salt out of the mines there. Holding on to that Trivia Mania salt. Ooh.
Oh, fuck yeah. I wanted to win that son of a bitch.
Hammer's, he's a machine. Just destroyed people. Oh, my God. I didn't face you, did I?
11.
Did I have to face you?
What?
Did I have to face you? I don't even remember.
No, it was going to be me.
Thank God.
After Kuzon, it was going to be me versus Colin. And then I think it was like a three-way dance that was going to happen afterwards.
Because I'm that sure. Like, I'm good up until like 05. And then and that's your fucking wheelhouse. So I'm done right there.
05, 06, 07. Those were my years where I was the champ.
That's your golden era right there.
Yeah. Everything else was downhill.
Hopefully they can head downhill and hit me up on Twitter at the HibbikiTMD. That little red button down there, don't forget to hit it again for all the goodness retro gaming and pro wrestling. UnionSmack.BigCartel.com, official HibbikiTMD merch. Check out my co-host Matt on Union Smack's official book on that store as well, The Undertaker, Trip Down Death Valley, and look for his upcoming NXT UK Year 1 book, 2020. It's coming, Union Smack Hall of Fame. Pro Wrestling Journal podcast. Me and my man Drew are back better than ever. Thank you guys again for having me over there on that website. Great writers that got you covered. If it's anything pro wrestling, great writers that got every single promotion in the world literally over there. Check them out for weekly reviews and all that stuff. And that's it. This is The Alternative. Until then, enjoy the holidays, everyone. Until 2020, we'll see you back here next year. See you then.